Hi, my name's Dee Wilkinson, and welcome to Southwest Coaching's YouTube channel, where we do bite-sized videos on coaching tools and techniques. And today we're going to be talking about 5 steps to managing self as coach, because we have to take that responsibility in the coaching relationship to make sure we're managing ourselves really well in order to give the best service to our clients. So we're going to look at 5 steps, some practical, some personal. The first step is self-preparation. So, when we talk about self preparation, we're talking about what are the things we can do to set ourselves up to be the best we can be for our client in that session. There's many things, and I'm going to do a whole new other video on preparation for the whole session, but this one's about you. So, are you well hydrated? Are you drinking enough water? Is your brain able to work effectively because you're hydrated? Are you hungry? Have you had enough food? Have you had breakfast? Sounds simple, but have you been to the loo? There's nothing worse than thinking I need to go to the loo halfway through a session. How are you dressed? Are you dressed appropriately for the client that you're meeting? Are you in your kind of professional outfit? Are you feeling like a professional when you're ready to go and see them? And the last point around self preparation, although there are more, but this one, keeping it short and sweet, is around what do you do prior to a session? Do you need to do some meditation? Do you need to do some reading about the session that you're going into? How can you get yourself into the correct mindset, ready to be present, open, and able there for your coachee? So mindset's really important. How do you prepare for a session mentally? What do you need to do? What emotion do you need to park before going into that session so that you can leave all of your stuff behind and you are there present? So that's step one: hydration, food, loo, dress code, and mentally preparing for that session. Because there's a great expression that if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. Step two: building rapport. So you get to meet your client, and this is a really important area to think about. How much rapport, how much talking do you do before the session starts? The rule of thumb is don't share anything about yourself unless it's really in service of your client reaching their goal. So there'll often be very, very little that you need to share, if anything at all. So go on the rule of thumb, you don't share anything. And then if you do, you're really consciously doing it for the right reasons and with the good intention of supporting your coachee. But it's really easy to slip into building rapport when you first get together with a client and then going straight into the session and no contracting's being done. You haven't framed the session, you haven't kept it within that professional safe space and created boundaries around what you're going to talk about. So be careful when you go into session that you say enough to build rapport and you have some way of stopping the conversation so that you've got time to do the contracting properly and then go into the session. It's also worth reacquainting yourself on occasion with the code of ethics that you work to. So, for example, I think there's an EMCC and global code of ethics. And sometimes it's helpful just as a reminder to go through those bullet points. And again, helps with your mindset, gets you in the right space, ready to manage yourself as you go into that session. Step three. Now, I find it really useful to set a personal goal as a coach for the session that I'm going into. So you might want to think about, what's my goal for this session? Is it not interrupting? Is my goal about remaining present? Is my goal about bringing challenge in when it needs to be there? Because often as coaches, we're great at building rapport, but we fall down on offering real challenge. So think about step three. What's your personal goal for the session that you're going into? Then we go into step four. So step four is going into more of a self-observing position. So this is incredibly helpful for our own development as coaches, building that ability to self-observe. In the early stages of our training and coaching, we're trying not to go into ourselves and keep it remain focused on the coach. So you want to refocus on being present. It might be that you're using your breathing. And what sort of strategies can you create if you notice that you've gone off track or you've drifted away or you're thinking about something else? How can you bring yourself back to refocusing? It might just be noticing that you've done that and you want to refocus. So start to build your self-observant self of you in the coaching session so that you can bring yourself back quickly and have a strategy to refocus on the client. And then step 5, I want to talk a little bit about yourself as instrument. So we talk about that in coaching. This is about you using yourself to determine then maybe the next question or what's happening in the relationship with your coachee. So start to build on your self-observer and notice what you notice. So as we become more experienced as coaches, we start using the data that's available to us to inform the coaching session and the questions. So, what are you feeling in this space with this client? What are you thinking in this relational space with this client? And is it useful data to inform the coaching session, or actually do you just need to park it and keep it out of the way of that space? So that's step 5. So very quickly, self-preparation, your rapport and what you need to park in the session, setting up your own personal goal, self-observing and becoming back to being present, understanding what's going on for you. And step 5, using yourself as instruments so as you get more experience, build on your self-observer, recognize what's happening for you in the moment with this client, and then is that useful data that you can use in your coaching session with them. So I hope that's been helpful today. 5 quick steps. And also we have a great coaching community that's free to join if you want to come and have these conversations with other coaches. You can find that at southwestcoaching.podia.com. Take care for now. Bye-bye.